Hello and welcome to Metal Vice, a podcast where we talk about all things music. Well, all things we care about, which is primarily metal and live music. Today we're going to be talking about shows during COVID, during 2020. But before we dive super far into that, we've recently watched a live stream of a concert with Tenacious D on September 11th, 2022 for their Rock the Vote concert. We paid $24.99 for the ticket, or for the stream, and $2.56, and I believe that's for tax.
Yeah, the Chicago Entertainment Tax.
Yeah. What were your thoughts on that show?
Well, compared to the shows that we did watch in 2020, which this show kind of jogged our memory about those, so we wanted to talk about it, is you could tell that in 2020 when they were doing these live stream shows, there wasn't a live audience, so the vibe was definitely different, where they were catering towards like the live stream audience or just live stream shows, where this one was a little bit different, where they had a live audience, so Tenacious D was performing for the live audience, and then they just happened to be recording it as well, or live streaming it as well. So I just felt the vibe was totally different between the shows that we watched in 2020 and this one.
Yeah, that's a good point. Like, this one was essentially just a recording of a concert.
Yep.
Like, if you buy a live DVD of somebody performing, like we have Disaster Pieces, a couple Metallica ones, and so on, right? Where it's just a recording of that particular show. And that's all this really was. It was just a show, and they were selling tickets to live stream it on, like, Nugs, I think is what it was. And there's been a few of those on Nugs. I know Dead & Company always streams on there. They have all, like, Metallica from their 2020
Yeah,
tour.
2019. Yeah.
That kind of bleeded into 2020, and then, like, those got canceled or postponed, so they went back and added those ones, like the Brazil dates and
Yeah,
all
those
that.
were just this year,
Yeah.
2022.
But I think that was, like, the same tour. But
Yep.
same thing, right? It was the concert filmed and streamed for you to watch. And we've seen other ones like that. We like Lala this year did that. At least I don't know if this is the first year they did it, if they did it more years, but this is the first year we really watched it and watched some performances there. And it was the same thing, right? Just a recording, not a recording, but a live stream of the concert.
Yeah. I think a lot more festivals or concerts are doing that now, since they found out that they could in 2020, or could sell it as well. Like Lala was on Hulu, so obviously you had to have a subscription to Hulu to be able to watch it, but that's who sponsored it or who held it. But yeah, like the Nugs subscription that we watch concerts, Machine Head, you mentioned, Metallica and Grateful Dead. I think those are the three main ones that we watch on there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think more bands might start doing that now that they realize that they could, or make more revenue off of it as well, especially the one-offs, one-off shows.
I mean, but what were your other than like the setup, and not necessarily the setup, but the vibe of the show? You know, one being, as we'll get into with the other ones, those are more catered towards that particular event with no audience in or around like the set where they're playing. This one was a live audience interacting. I know you're not like the biggest fan of Tenacious D,
No,
but
I'm not.
but like, what other than not enjoying the music and the vibe being different than the previous ones that we saw in 2020, what were your other kind of thoughts? Was it something enjoyable? I guess let's stick to that. Like, we'll talk about that at the end when we talk about
Enjoyable?
Yeah, I think so.
Like, was this show enjoyable?
I know you're not going to think it was, but overall the experience. And
Okay.
let's wait till we talk about the other three, and then come back and circle back to see what our thoughts are.
Okay.
And with that, let's dive into the first one.
Sure.
First one was Metallica.
Well, this was our last one.
Yes, this is the last one that we saw, but we'll talk about it first.
Okay,
So
sounds good.
our first, but our last. This was the All Within My Hands concert and auction that they did in 2020. It was November 14th, 2020, and the price that we paid, if I remember looking it up, was $74.22. Um,
But
they
that
had-
goes towards charity.
yeah, it went towards their All Within My Hands Foundation.
Yes.
I don't remember all the tiers they had. I don't think this was the lowest tier, but it definitely wasn't the highest tier.
This one came with a shirt, right? You
See, I
got a
can't
t-shirt?
remember if it came with the shirt. I think it did. So, I mean, that's not horrible, right? 25, 30, I guess shirts like $40 now, right? At
45
concerts.
at the last concert we were at. There, 45 for a t-shirt.
Yeah, so then I guess that's true. Then that's $30 for the
Yeah.
live stream.
Yeah. So
That's not
$30
horrible.
for both of us to see a concert. Not bad
Yeah,
at all.
yeah. But it's All Within My Hands, so it's a special event they do every year. They have their new one coming up in December. We're not gonna be able to make that. But they always do like something special, or at least they have the last few years. The year before this, in 2019, they ended up releasing it on vinyl and on CD, and we have that where it's basically the acoustic set they did. They did a lot of covers, a lot of original Metallica songs, but acoustic versions of those songs, which was really cool to hear. I enjoy that album a lot. This one started out the same way. They came out and did a bunch of acoustic songs. I think they opened with Blackened, which during 2020, the first thing they released was sort of the acoustic version of Blackened, and it was just like the Skype version, right, where they had the 4 panels and each one of them was in a panel, and they would just play their music. Do you remember much about that first part of the set?
Yeah, I did. Like, yeah, I remember
What were your thoughts watching that?
the first part.
Yeah.
Well, we didn't even talk about the set really, or like the setup.
Sure, let's talk about the setup then before we get into the
Yeah,
actual
because
set.
I think that really plays into
What you were saying
the
earlier.
whole. Well, kind of what I was saying earlier, but then also it plays into like my thoughts on their sets, if that makes sense. So, the setup of this performance was were they in a circle?
I think it was just a giant square.
A
So
square.
they
Okay.
were in a square box, basically.
Okay. I couldn't remember if they were sitting in a circle or not, or if they were sitting. But so all 4 of them, if it's a square, more than likely they were on corners of the.
Sorry. They were probably in a circle amongst themselves.
That's what I thought.
But
yeah.
the overall setup was basically a square around them. Like they were
Okay.
inside of a box.
Okay. So they were more likely in a circle. Sorry, I don't remember. But then the walls of the box were screens, and I believe people could pay, like, there was different tiers. You could, kind of like what you were talking about, like ours I think came with a t-shirt. Another tier was you could have your camera on while they're playing, and they would just show your face on one of those squares on the wall or on the screen. And then I think the top tier was that they would call you out, and then you would actually be able to talk with the band members. So kind of like a meet and greet in a way, but it was all live stream on TV.
Yeah, so when we bought our tickets, I remember looking at those options, and like you're right, it was sort of like a meet and greet, and I can't remember what the price was. It wasn't outrageously horrible. I want to say maybe $150 to
Yeah.
less than $300.
Yeah, it wasn't that bad at all. To do
And
it.
I was like, oh, well, that's kind of cool for like a meet and greet. And I thought it was like before the show that you'd sit down and do like a little chat with them over Zoom, which was like, all right, that's kind of cool. But at the same time, it's like, I don't think I want to do that. I don't think I want to do a meet and greet to begin with. So we didn't opt to do that. I didn't realize it was going to be during the show that you would see these like hexagon screens all lined up like a honeycomb, with people sitting there like jamming out in their rooms, listening to Metallica.
Yeah. So I get it. Like when you were buying the tickets or the subscription, I guess it's not really a ticket, but you thought that it was more a Zoom call before.
Yeah, and I think part of it said something like a shout out. So I didn't know what that meant. Like, oh, are you just gonna say, "Hey, thanks, Brian and Karen for showing, donating to All Within My Hands," that type of thing.
Yeah.
But no, it was during the sets. They would, in between songs, they'd stop and call out random numbers, of the people they wanted to talk to, and they talk to somebody for a little bit, ask like where they're at, if they're staying safe, what they keeping busy doing, and whatnot. What were your thoughts on that whole experience?
On the shout out thing?
Yeah.
It was kind of cool. I don't think, like you said, I don't think I would do it. Um, it was very short. I remember, like, I mean, they only talked to the people for like 30 seconds, maybe. But most people had Metallica everything, like Metallica all over their wall. Like, they were set up in a place that had like posters and
Show their fandom.
yeah, show like how big of a fan they are. Um, and then sometimes the conversations were just, "Hi, my name is blah blah blah. I'm a fan." And then other people, I think I remember a couple that, were kind of geeking out, like wanting to say like what their favorite album it was or their song was, or but yeah, like I think you mentioned not the shout out ones, but like that other people, and you could see them just jamming on a guitar. Obviously on mute, they weren't talking or anything, but you could just see them playing a guitar in the background or whatever. So it was kind of cool.
Yeah, and so another thing we got with this ticket was like the audio version of this concert, and so I actually listened to it just
did
a
you?
little bit ago.
Oh,
And I really did not like the shout outs when I'm listening to it.
oh,
When you were streaming it, it was fine. It was fun. It was interactive. But when I'm just listening to the audio, like walking to work or walking somewhere, right, it's very annoying. And like, I just want to hear music. I don't want to hear people talk. So I found myself skipping a bunch of those. And yeah, it was not something I enjoyed from just an audio perspective. But yeah, I mean, so that's the sort of the setup. Anything else you want to talk about, sort of the stage?
no, I mean, yeah, I just feel like going into the sets or, like what we thought of it, the setup was a big thing.
Yeah, it was a really cool setup. I mean, definitely seeing those screens, like I said, watching it live was a lot of fun. Listening to it, not so much. But yeah, it was a lot of fun watching it live. Made sense.
And I think if you would have paid for one of those upper tiers, like even if you just paid for your picture to be shown or whatever, or your face to be shown, I think it'd be kind of cool, like throughout the show, to be like, "Oh my gosh, there we are," or whatever,
Yeah.
But I don't really think I would want to do like the talking ones.
No, I don't think so either. If it was just like before the show, I'd be more inclined to do it. But after, like during the like live stream, like no, I don't think I would. I'm glad we didn't do that.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, like I said, so they kind of alluded to this. They broke it into like two sets. The first one was more acoustic, more covers, and more Metallica songs as acoustic versions. I really enjoyed that.
Did you?
It was a unique experience. They did the House of the Rising Sun by the Animals, or as Lars said, the Yardbirds, which he got wrong during that. It was kind of fun. And then Roberto's like, no, it's the Animals. But I mean,
So you just listened to this, so
I did.
you
yeah.
have it in your mind. Like I haven't listened to it or anything since 2020. So
Yeah, and then I enjoyed that. It was a lot of fun. Because like I said, we listened to that 2019 album where it's just a bunch of covers and some Metallica songs as well as on acoustic. It's just an interesting way to hear some of the songs. Some of them they did Creeping Death as an acoustic.
yeah, I remember that one. Yeah.
I did not like that as an acoustic.
You didn't like it?
No, it was not. I'm not a fan of that version of that song. That's one of my favorite songs too, but
Not as acoustic.
no, it's missing that edge.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then they took a little break. I was trying to remember, and I kind of remember during the break they streamed like videos of them promoting the All Within My Hands, showing the kind of work that the All Within My Hands Foundation does.
Yeah, yeah. To show the viewers or whatever, like what the actual foundation does in the, with the money or with their time as well. It's not just about money. It's
Right.
they actually go and volunteer or, help out as much as they can.
Right. It's community service. Come clean up parks. Come clean up cities. Food banks. A lot of money goes to food banks. And that was a big thing this year. Obviously, was providing to food shelters, food banks, and then education opportunities for people as well. If you want to go into like a trade craft. They'll help. I think one of the big things they do is provide like boots for people who are going into construction.
Yep.
Let's
And I
get
think
you the proper
jackets.
equipment.
Yeah.
anything you need, like let's get it to you so you can be successful in this endeavor that you want to pursue, which is awesome. It's something that I think that all the band members care a lot about, and they want to, you know, pay it forward type thing, and it's great to see.
Yeah. And I think it's really great to see these bands that, not necessarily just Metallica, but I mean, because a lot of bands have charities or have created charities over the last, I don't know, 10 years that I've been following them. But everybody's always on Metallica for having so much money, or, you know, like Metallica does, you know, I guess the whole Napster and Lars thing, like they think that
All they care about is money.
Yeah, all they care about is money, but then All Within My Hands really proves that it's not all about money, it's about the giving back also. So I think that's really cool.
Yeah, and it was great to see that.
Yeah.
And then they came out for the second part of the show, which was the normal electric guitars, no more acoustic stuff going on, which made it very interesting, right? That you got to see both halves here. You got to see a little bit of acoustic and a little bit of harder, heavier stuff.
Yeah.
And one thing they did was play a song from the 2019 show, which was the acoustic, the first time they covered it. And they played it again, but this electric version of it. I think that's the one they came out to, or it's the second song they played. They ended it with All Within My Hands.
All Within My Hands, okay.
And then they took the break and came back and to the electric set and played Disposable Heroes. And I think that's the song I was thinking of, where they played it acoustically the first time the year before and came back and did an electric version.
Okay.
Electric guitar version of the cover of the song, which was great to hear. That second set was very short, right? I think they did like 8 songs the first time, and then 6 songs. So I guess it's about the same.
Wait, and you have Master of Puppets in there.
Yeah, that's true. That's going to take a little while.
Yeah, that's 2 songs in one.
But I mean, all in all, it was just 2 songs in one. You always forgot that. All in all, I really enjoyed this experience as a whole. $75, not bad for a shirt and 2 people to get to see a show. And there were no shows really in 2020.
Yeah.
So like
we had to make it work.
Right. It was fun. And like we justified it also, like, hey, we're helping out a good cause. So
Right.
Any other thoughts you have about this particular Metallica show?
No, I enjoyed it. It's hard to, I mean, because we saw 2 other bands do it. But it's hard to say if it was like my favorite one. It was unique compared to the other 2 bands that we saw, but I really enjoyed it. I wish that they would live stream All Within My Hands this year, which maybe they'll announce it.
They might, yeah. I mean, because after this also they had the 40th, right? And they live streamed that on Amazon. You can watch both nights of that.
Yep. Yeah.
So I mean, possibly they'll do All Within My Hands this year as well.
Yeah, it'll be cool if they do, because it's very unique.
Yeah.
I wish we could go this year, but
yeah,
can't make it work.
So yeah, you did mention we saw 2 other bands, and the next one we're going to talk about is Fever 333, which I think was the show right before this. We saw this on October 24th, 2020. It's called the Virtual Demonstration. They call their shows demonstrations, not necessarily shows, but yeah, so just a virtual version of their demonstrations, our virtual show, basically. We paid $16.09. I'm assuming there's some sort of fee in there as well.
Yeah, I'm sure it's $1.09 for tax. So $15 for the show and then the tax added on.
Still not bad. $15 for a show. Like,
Yeah.
pretty good.
Yeah.
So yeah, Fever 333. Do you remember much about this show?
Yeah, so we're kind of jumping all over the place, but this was actually our first show.
Our first
virtual show.
Oh.
Because the next one that you have listed was in January 2021.
Oh, okay.
Not
So it
in
was
2020.
Okay, so it was this, then Metallica, then Avatar. Okay.
People are still playing live shows in January 2020. There's 2021.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Lockdown didn't happen until March.
Yep.
I completely missed. Yeah, that's very true.
But that's okay. We'll just jump all over the place. So we talked about our second show. Now we're talking about our first show. And then we'll talk about our third show. But, so the setup, if I remember right, was also like a stage within a box.
Yeah, it was definitely, it seemed like it was in a warehouse, and they had just sort of a stage up, in the middle of
Yeah.
the warehouse.
Yeah. So, and then they had like lights along the stage to like make different color, like the box would turn red or blue or whatever color. So, and then I know at one point they even showed like the audience, and like I think his child came up on stage and stuff, if I remember right. And like they showed like all the crew and everything, because like with any show, most of the time bands are like, hey, put it up for, or give it up for all the crew. So they did that during the show as well. So you actually got to see the big warehouse and see the people sitting there and everything.
That's a good point, because this isn't, these shows aren't just the musicians up there. There is a massive crew typically behind the band that is tearing it down, putting it together. You have your guitar techs, your drum techs who are like making sure it sounds great. Like the crew is the thing. And not only were the bands affected during this, like they probably make a good chunk of their money through live performances and merch sales. But the crew makes their money by being a crew for a live show.
Exactly.
And when you don't have live shows, there's no work for them. They're just simply out of work.
Right.
So bands that did put the stuff together and brought their crews out to help them out. That's awesome. Like, hey, we're gonna help you guys. Like, let's give the fans something to listen to. Let's give you some work to do. Like, it's a great thing.
Yeah, and I think doing the live streaming portion of it, obviously, then you have editors and
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't even know what all goes into a production. I shouldn't even talk like I know what I'm talking about, because I have no clue. But
Definitely gonna have like a director, a producer.
yeah,
That like will say cut to camera X. Your sound guys who are gonna make sure you're sounding good and all that.
yeah. And like I mentioned during Tenacious D, that concert that we watched, the live stream they had a live audience. It was produced as just recording a concert of them on stage for the live audience, where this was basically them on stage, mostly. I don't even know what the singer's name is. I should have looked it up. But basically him singing and them filming him singing like on an empty stage by himself. I mean, granted, we just talked about that there was a small crew there, but basically just them performing on stage by himself or by themselves.
Yeah, I mean, the first time we saw Fever 333 was at open air.
Yeah.
And the energy that they put on stage is fucking insane.
Right.
It's so awesome to see.
Well, but going into it, I remember we went and looked at merch before even going to the stage, and I saw their logo was a cat, or like a leopard maybe, I don't even know. That's probably the wrong cat, but a large cat, and the number's 333.
I'm guessing it's a Black Panther.
Probably. That's probably the right answer there. This is going great tonight.
But
I knew right away. I was like, cats and the number 3.
yeah,
I'm gonna like this.
And we saw them. They have so much fucking energy. It's so awesome to see.
Yeah.
Their sound is amazing. I love their sound. And their message is very, I would say, political, but not political. Like it's
not really political, like towards government.
Yeah.
Like not saying it's pro-government or against government, but very like, let's all work together. The people need the power.
The other thing is, and they said this during the open air, is the lead singer and the guitar player are Black. And they came out and they're like, thank you for accepting us. You don't see many people that look like us in metal and rock. And it's been amazing for you guys just to welcome us with open arms. And so like their message it's great. It's not very political necessarily, but it's definitely like, hey, there's social fucking issues going on that need to be addressed.
Yeah, I guess that's the better way to see it. Not necessarily political, but just social.
Yeah. And like this was going on this was in October 2020.
Yeah, the unfortunate events of the end of May and June 2020, or beginning of June 2020, really brought to light the social injustice of in America, and really brought that to the forefront of all parts of society, every part of society. So
Yeah, and I don't remember a whole lot necessarily about the performance. I remember liking it a lot. It was pretty lengthy. I can't remember how long the actual performance was. It was basically them having a headliner performance, right? Because it was their live stream.
yeah,
Which we've never seen them as like a headliner role, which would be really cool.
no, we've only seen them at festivals. So
Right.
And they only get like a 30-minute set.
Yeah,
So they're always at the beginning of the festival.
but they always come and bring it and destroy the fucking like the place. Like it's amazing. Like once I said, the energy, the sound,
Yeah.
the crowd it's so fucking awesome.
Yeah. I mean, both. I can't remember at Knotfest, but I know Knotfest he climbed as well.
Yep.
But like during open air, they have like it's at Bridgeview Toyota Park now, I think.
It was SeatGeek at the time.
Okay, SeatGeek. Used to be Toyota Park where the Chicago Fire played, but there's like a press box thing over on the side, and I just remember in the middle of the performance, he like climbs up the press box, like which is like a building, and then like on top of the stage basically, and yeah, like see his mic cord is just so long. I remember him. I don't remember at Riot Fest if he did that in 2021. But Knotfest he did. He climbed up on the production stage.
Like the soundstage out
the
back.
soundstage, yeah.
He didn't do it at Riot Fest, but he
Riot
definitely
Fest-
ran into the crowd with like he took his jumpsuit off and was just running around the crowd.
Yeah, I remember that, yeah. So he always, I mean, he has so much energy and jumping around like crazy.
Well, they all are. Yeah, they're
Yeah.
just jumping around, having a great time. It's awesome. But yeah, I don't remember a whole lot necessarily about this. I remember at one point, I don't know if it was the beginning, middle, or when, but it was they had extras in police riot gear, which went along with the songs and the thematic, like
Matrix.
yeah, the theaterness of this particular performance. I loved it. The other thing I remember is they had, I believe it's Supremacy. Like they had a new EP come out, or it was coming out, and they had this amazing woman vocalist come out and sing like the backup or sing the chorus, and they had her come out to do this particular performance with them on the live stream, which was awesome to see and hear.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, all in all, that's really all I remember about the performance. I remember loving it, thinking it was great. I love their music. I love their energy, their sound, like I said, their message, everything. I just love this band so much. And the live stream did not disappoint, especially for $15
Yeah. I remember. So we watched it at the time. We were in a studio apartment, and we had a small 37-inch TV.
27-inch.
Sorry, a small 27-inch TV, and we sat on the couch we were all concert ready with probably our soda and beer, and got ready to live stream the concert. And I just remember being so excited that we were going to watch a concert because it had been so long.
Yeah.
I mean, since February 2020, since we had seen a show.
Did we see something in February?
Yeah, we saw Lumineers.
Oh, we did. Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right.
So I just remember being so excited. Like, I didn't care if it was live stream. I didn't care. I was just so excited to see a show.
But I mean, yeah, great show. Love that band. Love everything they do, and
Yeah.
that was so much fun.
I wish you could buy these now.
So yeah, let's save that because I want to get to that at the end when we talk about Avatar, because Avatar, that's the next one we're going to talk about is Avatar. So let's just let's dive straight into Avatar then.
Sure.
So this was the Aegis show, and this was January 2021.
Mm-hmm.
And why we say January is there were 4 separate shows over the week.
It was every
month
Saturday.
of, yeah.
Yeah, every Saturday there was a show.
So the first one was the Dream Show on January 9th. And then what were there?
And then there was Illusions on January 16th, Madness on January 23rd, and then Memories on January 30th.
And so we ended up paying $108 for this, by far the most.
Yeah.
But even if you take like the Fever 333 price and jock that down to like $15 a show, that's $60. So we overpaid by $48 then
Yeah, so
compared
this
to
is
them.
basically $25 a show.
But it wasn't, right? Because a part of this package, there were multiple packages again, like Metallica. This package came with a sweater.
Oh, right. I have a sweater.
Right.
Of the tour. The
So-
Ultimate World Tour.
So $108 got you a sweater and 4 concerts.
Yeah. And you had 48 hours to watch the concert from the time that it went live.
After it went live, right?
Yeah.
So that's actually a pretty good deal. So yeah, $108 for 4 live shows and a sweater is pretty good.
Yeah. Very good price.
And like you said, you got to watch them for 48 hours.
Yeah. And even one of them, I wasn't home for. So you watched it, and then I was able to watch it the next day.
Right.
So yeah, it was kind of cool to be able to see it. So let's talk about each show, though.
Okay. Do you remember much about each show?
So somewhat on some of them.
So talk about the whole, like the title ages.
Yeah. So first of all, let's just talk about Avatar.
Okay.
So when they put on a performance, it's all a show base. So right now currently they're they like dress up as kings or like just jokers.
So
Or
yeah, when we first saw them at open air, I would describe it as like Carney almost.
Carney. Yeah.
And then the next album, definitely they were like, like royalty, kingdom. Everybody had their place. You had the king, you had your jester,
Yeah.
and so on.
Yeah. So it's all like they put on a huge performance every single show, which is probably why we've seen them so much, because it's just so much fun to watch them. But so each show, the Dreams, Illusions, Madness, and Memories, was a different era of their music. So I believe Dreams was the newest. I think it went the newest to the oldest.
Oh,
if I
did it?
remember right. Yeah. So I could be wrong on that, but I think that that's right. So Dreams was like their newest album, which was, what's the name of the album?
Colossus.
Is that the name of the album?
I'm pretty sure. Or is it Hunter Gatherer? Hunter Gatherer.
Hunter Gatherer. Yeah. So it was like all their new stuff. And they put on a performance. Like, I don't remember if every single one was like this, but one of them had like old ticket stubs and like old posters on the wall, like old concert posters, and that might have been the Memories one. And
Yeah,
they
I
had
think-
like doors that they went in and out of.
Yeah, it seemed like the stage was very similar for all of them. It was, once again, they're in sort of like this makeshift room in a warehouse. But they would change it up for the particular show.
For what they were.
The
performing.
last one, Memories, which we'll get to, I think was supposed to be like when they first started out. So it
Mhm.
was like them as kids.
Yeah. So Illusions, I don't remember what album that was.
Was that the King?
Oh, yeah.
Avatar Country?
Yeah. So that's like Avatar Country type time period, which is where we saw them the most. What, like, for live concerts was like during that period. So that was a lot of fun because that's when we got into them. So that's like the part that we really like. And then Madness was like, I don't even know what era it is, but it's like Smells Like a Freak Show.
That's probably your Feathers and Flesh,
Yeah,
your Hell the Apocalypse, and your
Hell the
Black
Apocalypse.
Waltz albums
Yeah,
are probably
yeah,
those.
3 albums. Yeah. Hell the Apocalypse, definitely. So, and that's the show that I had to watch without you. So we watched those separately. And then Memories was like their first album, which is I didn't listen to really until we watched this, and then I was like, oh, I really enjoy this. By the way, I pretty much just listened to like Black Waltz Forward, but it like this is before they like dressed up and like put on a show and stuff. So they were basically just no face makeup and jeans and t-shirt. And like I said, like the decorations in the room was like old concert posters, old tickets, old pictures of them practicing. Yeah, it was like just the older stuff of them.
Yeah, and I'm the same about you are, right? Like we saw them for the first time at Open Air 2017.
Yep.
So that was like right before Avatar Country, like you said. But like a lot of their music at that time was definitely that Feathers and Flesh, Hell the Apocalypse, and Black Waltz. And Black Waltz and Hell the Apocalypse, to me, that's the like carny phase, and I guess to some extent Feathers and Flesh. I don't know, for some reason that just reminds me of like, oh, this is their carny phase, and then they went into like the king phase, and now they're in like the hunter gatherer phase.
Yeah.
But until this show, I also did not realize their first album came out in 2006.
Yeah.
And then they had a couple in 2009. And I think that was the last, like the Memories section of this.
Yeah, like
those three.
2000 aughts.
Yeah.
Or how we say that.
So yeah, it was really cool to see. They played a lot of songs that they typically don't play because they don't really play it that often. A whole lot of songs off those first three. It took them a while to like take off, and I think it happened with Black Waltz.
Yeah. I don't think at their concerts they play their first 2 albums.
I think when we saw them earlier this year, they played one song. And I remember it because he had the same opening he had during the Ages live streams where he's like, this is an old girlfriend who slept with like my best friend or something like that.
Right.
So it's like a dedicated to you, like go fuck yourself type song.
Yeah. There's another song that they, for some reason in my mind, it's Pig Destroyer, but that's not
like
right.
that's
not the name of the song, but we did see that at one other concert. That was in 2021, one of our first live shows back. They played that.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not seeing it on our set list, but
well, it was 2021. Our set list is for 2022.
Right. Yep. Gotcha.
Yeah. But yeah, so that song we've heard a couple times now, but and it's heavy. Like, I guess that's part of it is their early stuff is like super heavy, like, and then they do get into like the circus phase, and then the King with Avatar Country. That's just fun and dancey. I don't even know. I need a better describing than dancey.
Than dancey.
Yeah, I feel like everything's just dancey.
Like Ghost is dancey.
Yeah. We're just dancing around. We don't dance, but other people might. And then Colossus went back to heavy again.
Yeah.
Or hunter-gatherer, I guess, with Colossus. Yeah. But yeah, what we're like, I guess for watching this after, because this was the second show that we watched, or the second live stream that we watched after, between this and
this would have been the last one we watched. It would have been
Fever,
then Metallica.
Yeah.
Then
So out of the other two, I guess, like what were your thoughts on how they put this together versus the other two?
it's very, very similar, right? It's in a warehouse. I think Metallica took place inside their headquarters, which essentially is a warehouse where they have all their shit. But they're all in a warehouse on a soundstage, so to speak, right? So, I mean, they're all very similar. I enjoyed this one a little bit more than the other two, primarily because it was 4 concerts. It was something to do the entire month. It was super entertaining to see. Like I said, like you said, it's not the same thing as watching a recorded or a live streamed actual concert. You can do a lot more with this sort of setup, and I think they took the most advantage of that. Next to them, I would say Fever 3 took the most advantage, then Metallica the least amount of advantage of what they could have done, but also it was a different thing that Metallica was trying to do.
Yeah.
Like Metallica was trying to raise money for the foundation, and a part of to do that is let people pay to have them called out or shout out during the show. Versus these were, let's just put on a performance and have fun. And like I said, I think Avatar took the most advantage of that approach because it basically was like one giant music video.
Yeah. Like each performance was a different music video.
Right. Like you said, on this one, they had a setup on the stage where they had multiple doors, and they'd like run through the door and then come out the other side, and it made it very trippy. But yeah, it was a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah, I feel like the Avatar put the most into the production, where Fever 333 maybe did like the least amount of production, but enough production to make it very viewable and enjoyable.
I could see that. It was very minimalistic, the
Yeah.
Fever 333 setup, but it also like worked for what they were trying to go for. Metallica, they had the Salesforce, was one of the big sponsors, so I think they gave a lot of money to do like the hexagon shout out square things. Hexagon shout, yeah. So I mean, yeah, all in all, I really enjoyed this. I liked the fact that you could watch the show 48 hours. I can't remember if the other ones you could as well, even though we didn't take advantage of it. I know you did for one show. I don't know if you did for other shows, but I never went back and rewatched the shows.
No, I didn't go back. The one when I was out of town is the only one that I watched later. I wish we could have went back and watched them though. I would like to watch them now, which I think you can rent them.
You can still rent
24
them for
hours.
Yeah, 24, 48 hours.
Maybe
yeah.
48 hours, yeah. Which isn't bad. I want to say it's only like $6 to rent it. $6.99 maybe.
It's really not that bad, no.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to talk about Avatar?
No, it was really enjoyable.
It was.
I would love to see a 2-hour performance from them every weekend. That'd be really fun. Different performance too. I think that's the thing is like even though it was 4 shows, it was completely different each week. So where like if you go see 4 shows of theirs now, you maybe get like 1 or 2 songs that are different, but otherwise it's the same show.
So we mentioned a couple times during this chat that we wish we could rewatch them. And as you said with Avatar, you can probably, I think you still can go online and purchase like a 24, 48 hour viewing for relatively cheap, like $6 or so. And I mentioned like we've seen live, we have Nugs where we watch some live concerts that have been recorded and put up there. We watched the live stream of Tenacious D. We can go back and rewatch that, or at least we could have. And we compared that Tenacious D one to more of, watching one of our live stream, or not our live stream, our DVDs of a concert that we've seen.
Yeah.
And we watched some of those like Disaster Pieces from Slipknot. We watched that several times, or at least I have. But we don't go back and rewatch that often. And I guess what's your like you said, you want to go back and rewatch this stuff. How often are you going to do that, do you think?
Like if we had the opportunity to?
Yeah.
I don't know, cuz like sometimes I mean if we use Nugs as an example, like we might have just Machine Head on while we're cooking dinner or eating dinner as our music source instead of a record, which generally we have a record on. But so I feel like if we had these to go back to watch, like one night we might put Fever 333 on and just have it playing while we're cooking dinner and eating and stuff.
But as like background noise.
As background noise. Yeah, not like sit down and watch it like what we did the first time, but just have it on. Yeah. What would you think? Like, would you do that?
I think I would go back and rewatch it from time to time. Just put it on and sit there. If I every now and then I get in the mood, and I've done this with Nugs. I'll just throw a concert on. I'll watch some of it. Go to YouTube, do that. Like I said, we have a few DVDs like Disaster Pieces, Cunning Stunts from Metallica. That from time to time I'll put on and watch. We have S&M that we did that once as well.
Yeah.
We did the free trial of the Coda Lounge to do the Metallica 40th. Rewatch those shows. And
even though we went to both S&M and the 40th,
yeah,
we still wanted to watch the live stream.
So it's something that we do from time to time. I agree with you. We do a lot of the background viewing of it. The thing I'm not the biggest fan of is this rental approach that Avatar is taking, where if they've released all 4 of these on a DVD or digital download for like $40 or $50, I think we'd pay that price
to
have it.
Yeah.
For even though we'd probably never watch it, but like the $6 rent one show for 48 hours, I can't really justify doing that myself. Like, I don't know. It's super weird.
Yeah, I think that's why we haven't done it.
Yeah.
Is because it is like, I mean, if you could pay $6 and then you get like a link to watch it whenever, that's kind of cool. But
Right, and I'd even pay a little bit more. I'd pay like $15 a show type thing.
yeah,
Maybe 20 a show.
I mean, think about how much a DVD costs. Like, probably pay
Sure, yeah.
more than that anyways. So
$25 per show. I think I'd really buy that.
yeah, I don't know. I mean, maybe Avatar will release it someday.
Maybe.
But maybe they don't have like, I don't know. Maybe it's like a production rights thing or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Who knows?
So I mean, that's one sort of notch against this but I mean, it's really not even a knock against it, right? Like,
no, you don't
it's
rewatch
a
a
way
concert.
to exactly. So I mean,
Some people do. They record the whole thing on their
yes,
cell
they do.
phones.
So I mean, I get that. All right, that's fine. But so going away from like, hey, I want to purchase this to watch it whenever I want to watch it type thought process. What about just the process in general, like what we did with Tenacious D, where it's like, oh, it's gonna be on, it's $25. Let's get it, and that's what we're watching on this particular night. Like, what's your thought on that whole approach altogether?
Like to just purchase the live stream
Yeah.
and watch it?
Yeah.
I don't mind doing it. Because I enjoy watching the concerts, even if we're not live. I mean, even if we think about watching Green Day with Lollapalooza, like we had nothing else to do that Sunday night, so why not watch a concert instead of watching I don't know.
Like a cartoon show or like
Yeah.
some sort of TV show or movie.
Yeah, like a TV. Like, I mean, we watch the same TV shows over and over and over. It's like, why not watch live music that we like to watch anywhere? Or, like, we love live music, so why not pay the money to do that? And the money, I mean, generally the money goes towards the band in some way. I don't know about Lala, how that all worked.
Well, I mean, yeah, because it was
The bands
Hulu.
and the bands get paid.
Yeah, I don't know how that works as well.
Yeah.
It's probably a flat fee and then whatever.
Yeah, but like thinking about Fever 333 or Avatar, like Metallica was a different situation because it's all within my hands, so they weren't taking money out of it. But Fever 333, like we loved seeing them in 2019, so we're supporting them. And same with Avatar, like we just really enjoy Avatar, so it's like we're gonna support them. If more bands came out with live streaming, we would have probably supported those as well.
Yeah, I think I'm in the same boat that I enjoy watching the live streams. Definitely going to a venue and seeing it live. Like you get that crowd atmosphere. You can't replace that just live streaming it. So you're going to miss that. The audio might be a little better on a live stream. We've been to a few venues that really, really suck with the audio. But if
Yeah.
you can hook the audio straight from the mic into a mixer and stream that out, you probably get a little bit of a sound. You're not going to have the acoustic issues with certain venues and whatnot, right? So I definitely get that. I would prefer going live, but if there's a concert tonight, like Metallica's playing, Disturbed, Avatar, Lamb of God, whoever really, right? If they're putting on their show live, that I can just pay and stream it and sit at home and watch it, because I can't make that particular show.
That's what I was going to say. I would never replace going live unless we can't make it. Like, if All Within My Hands this year is live stream in some way, we will be watching it because we can't make it this year.
Right.
So it's like, and same with the Tenacious D, like the Rock the Vote thing. Like, we weren't going to make it to, where were they, New York?
That one was in New York, I believe. The next weekend they were in Milwaukee. We talked about going up.
Yeah, we had other concerts going on, though.
We did, yeah. And like our week was just busy that week. We decided not to go, but.
Yeah. But anyways, I would not replace, if we could make it to the concert, I would not replace going and being in the crowd and being at the concert versus sitting on our couch watching it. But if, like in 2020, we had no choice. There was nowhere, nobody was holding concerts, and we couldn't, living in Chicago, we couldn't go to a venue anyways. So I would much rather watch music than, like I said, a TV show or something, and support the bands that we enjoy watching.
Yeah, 100% agree. And when it comes to like replayability or rewatchability of it, I'm in the boat of, if I'm going to rewatch this, I want to buy it up front and then rewatch it.
Right.
I don't want to do one of the subscription model bullshit. Because, I mean, the 40th is on the Coda Lounge, and that's like a $7 a month subscription fee add on to your Amazon. And it's like, I don't want to do that. I just want to watch this again.
Well, what's Nugs? We pay for Nugs.
We paid for Nugs because we got like a promotion from Metallica where it was, I think, $25 or $50 for the whole year.
That's not that bad then.
It's not, and I think we've got our money out of that.
Yeah.
I don't know if we'll do it again next year type thing. But yeah, it's
much better quality than just going on YouTube and finding a concert. I've done that a lot. Like if I'm at work and want to watch a concert, I'll YouTube a concert to watch, and sometimes you get good quality, and then sometimes it's somebody's cell phone that you're watching it through, and it's not that great.
Yeah, I mean, like Metallica oftentimes takes 2 or 3 songs from a show and produces a pretty good video and puts a really good video and puts that up as like the live audio for our video from this particular concert.
Yeah, and sometimes you can find like Download Festival.
Yeah.
They produced some of the songs. I think it was kind of like what Lollapalooza did, where it's not every single band because they can't film every single stage or every single band, but they, like the headliner they'll put up or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, so yeah, I'm a big fan of the live streams, especially like you said, if you can't make it.
Yeah.
It doesn't replace a live show by any means. A live show is just 100 times better. But I mean, 2020, we didn't have an option to do that. You had no live shows. This was a great way to like get in and see like a live show, have an event that evening to break up, the week of wake up, work from home, eat at home, go to sleep, wake up, like that whole routine just repeat over and over. Now you had something to look forward to, and it was awesome.
Yeah.
I'm glad we get to see live shows again. I'm glad some people are doing some live stream stuff that you can purchase to watch, especially if you can't make the show, or some of it's even free. I think some of it's even free. So it's great to see that it doesn't replace, like you said, a live show at all. Like a live show's hand down is the best thing to see. This is a good second if you can't do it.
It like tickles that itch of wanting to see a live show.
Yeah.
If you can't make it. So
I mean, I'm all for this. I think live streaming is not going anywhere. I think you're going to see a lot more of it.
I agree.
I don't necessarily see it as a bad thing. I see it as sort of a good thing.
As long as people don't become money hogs over it.
What do you mean?
Like, I guess if it gets to a point where you're paying $100 to see a live stream, that's just ridiculous.
That's a good point. What do you think your top dollar for a live stream is?
It all depends on what the situation is.
Okay.
Because if it's like Metallica, a charity, I think we paid $76. Is that right? I guess we could look.
$75.
$75. So like that's fine because it's going towards their charity. If it's Metallica just live streaming and all you get is the hour and a half live stream or the 2 hour live stream and nothing else, and it's $75, probably not purchasing that.
Yeah, that's a good point. Like with Metallica, $75 and Avatar, $108. Both of those, not only did you get the performance, but you got like the t-shirt.
And a sweater, yeah.
And a sweater for Avatar. Metallica, we got the audio of the performance as well to listen to whenever we wanted. Avatar was 4 shows. Yeah, I mean, I get what you're saying. I think my top dollar is right around $25, $30 for a thing. Tenacious D, I think we paid right around that $25 mark.
But that was for the Rock the Vote.
It was another charity type thing,
Yeah.
right? But at the same time, I think $25 is a reasonable price for a concert. And 2 people are going to the concert for $25. You can have multiple people come over to your house and watch it type thing. If you wanted to have that gathering with friends, get your friends together, watch live stream, have a little bit of a different atmosphere than a live show, but still have a lot of fun with your friends while listening to some great music.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, like especially if the show's, out of state or, somewhere where you can't make it, it definitely fills that void of not being able to go to the show.
Yeah.
And even if we just watch Nugs or something, like I would much rather watch a concert or listen to music than watch some stupid TV show.
Yeah, no, agreed.
I said stupid. We don't watch stupid TV shows.
we
They're
do.
all great.
They're all stupid.
No, they're all stupid.
No, I agree. It was a great way to see stuff in 2020. I see it only getting more, not necessarily popular, but definitely in the future we're going to see more of this.
Yeah, I think so too.
It's not necessarily a bad thing. It's a different thing, not necessarily bad.
Yeah, maybe in a couple of years we'll come back and revisit this subject and see if we still think the same, or if it
Yeah.
even keeps going.
Yeah,
I think it will, but
I do too.
Yeah.
So, I mean, yeah, that was 2020 in a nutshell. Bunch of live stream music, and I guess a little bit in 2021.
Yep. Got that.
But that was
1 month in.
that was live music during COVID. That was a different animal for us altogether.
Well, thanks for listening, everybody.
See ya.